My husband's Tinder date. Part 1. My husband's Tinder date. While we were separated, my husband had sex with a woman. Now we have a positive STI test. My husband and I, hetero couple, have been in a monogamous relationship for about 14 years. We recently separated, and during our separation, he had a Tinder hookup. He used a condom during this one-time encounter. A few weeks later, we reconciled and began having sex. I discovered at some point in there that he didn't ask his Tinder hookup about her sexual history or her STI status, and that they had unprotected oral. I told him he needed to get STI testing done, and specifically asked him to do it as soon as humanly possible. He wanted to see his doctor, but his doctor was booking 3 weeks out, and he decided to book and wait. I asked him to try Planned Parenthood or a walk-in clinic. He looked into Planned Parenthood, but they only had a somewhat shorter wait time, so he chose to wait for his own doctor. We continued to have unprotected sex during this time, and at some point, I noticed that he had completely stopped giving me oral, with no explanation. I only come via oral or with toys and manual stimulation, and receiving oral is a pretty big part of my experience. I do not come from PIV intercourse. After weeks of waiting, he finally saw his doctor, who Googled STI in his office and seemed to have little to no experience around sexual health. He found a sore on his gum but had no idea what it was and suggested that my husband go to a dentist to see if the dentist could tell it was an STI. He also ordered a blood draw for a standard STI panel. When I looked at the panel order, I noticed there was no herpes test included, so I asked my husband to go back to his doc and get that ordered, which he did. In the meantime, my husband did nothing to schedule an appointment for the sore on his gum. Around this time, I brought up that he hadn't been giving me oral and asked him why. He said that it was because he was afraid of passing along HSV or HPV to me. That reassured me at least. He brought up dental dams as a possible solution, and I was less than enthusiastic.